Well, good afternoon, and it is afternoon. And here in southern Maine, we've had a whopping good snowstorm, and it's still snowing out there, so I thought this would be a good time for me to do a little bit of show and tell on some of the instruments that I built. And we'll start with the latest creation that I have, which is this little fella right here. This here is a tenor guitar. It sounds pretty nice. This guitar is all oak, except for the neck, which is mahogany. Back, right here. Sides. In the front, which I'm pretty proud of. I was very happy about this piece. Was able to get a nice cut and be able to mirror image the two pieces. So I got this, what I think is pretty intricate graining in here. Like I said, the neck is mahogany. And the fretboard is oak, and this whole guitar is stained with a special technique that I use that I found online, which I will explain. What it is white vinegar put in a jar, and you mix in very fine steel wool that you chop up and you put it in there, and there's a chemical reaction with the steel wool and the vinegar, and it'll turn a funky browny kind of color after fashion. And when you brush that onto oak, especially oak, which has a lot of tannic acid, that's the result you get, is it darkens the wood like that. Depending on how much tannic acid is in the wood, depends on how dark it gets. And what I do is I do the staining, and then I'll sand it down till I get some of the colors that I want to bring out some of the lighter colors and keep some of the dark and heavy grain part. And I found it works pretty good, and I've used it quite often. I think it does a nice job on oak. It works on other woods, but oak, it seems so far, is what I've been experimenting with, because you have the largest reaction, I would say, because of the tannic acid in the oak. And other woods have less, depending on how much there is in the wood, depending on how much of a reaction you get. Okay, well, we've got that one out of the way. I'm going to reach over and see if I can't get this little critter right here. This is what I call a short scale guitar that I built. It has a vibrating string length of 22 inches, which means the vibrating string length is distance from the nut to the saddle. And this is short, and if I was to build another one, I might make it just a tad longer, possibly. This one plays nice, but you're getting using standard strings on a neck that's so short, you're really getting strings start getting pretty slack. But it does have not too bad a sound to it. Like everything I build, most of them are just an experiment, and if it comes out good, if it don't, well, it was a learning curve. Has pretty good sustain for a little guitar. And this one and two of the other guitars I'm going to show you have the steel bar inside, which I will explain. I got this idea from a lady's YouTube channel. Her name was Dixie Michelle. She's passed on a few years ago, but she was making guitars and mandolins, and she came up with this idea of using a steel tube, which is a 1/2 by 1/2 inch hollow steel tube, which goes down through the neck underneath, just like it would be a truss rod, goes into the body. It has a spacer and then another bar that goes in, so they're mated together, and it goes in to a locking point on the tail block. What that does, it actually stiffens your neck to help prevent it from warping, and it also gives the instrument considerable sustain, and that's why she was doing it on her mandolins and guitars, was because the guitars would stay in tune better, for one thing, and the sustain was seen to be considerably more than on a standard guitar. You can see how long this hangs in there. I don't know how well it records, but that's what we got. Now, we're going to move on to a 6-string that I built. This critter here has a 5-inch deep body, very deep. Matter of fact, after I built it, I realized it's not going to fit in a standard guitar case. But that's another story. That's be a good excuse to build a separate case. But anyways, it has a steel bar in it, the same as the smaller guitar, which keeps it in tune. It has the neck width of a classical guitar, because that's the first guitar I had was a classical, and I kind of like the wide neck of a classical guitar. And this one guitar has a 25 7/8 inch vibrating string length from here at the nut down to the saddle. And I'm not using a pick right now, so I'm just kind of giving it a poke here with the fingers. So give you a quick demonstration. I think this one has pretty decent sustain also. I said this is a all poplar body. Got one little streak of mahogany down the middle just for an accent, but we're talking poplar here, poplar there. And this one has a piezo pickup in it, which I had forgotten about. It's been a while since I built this little critter. And like I said, it has a wide neck. A little bit beefy maybe for some folks. I'm probably getting this out of the camera angle, but I kind of like it. If you like big ones, big guitars, and this one might be your style. Some folks it might be just a little bit too chunky, but oh well. Now comes another big girl. This one's 5 inches deep on the body also. This is a 12-string. And I kind of like the top on it, this mahogany. We got these two pieces. Kind of here, it kind of really gives you something to look at, and it's not exactly dead. We have a mahogany back with maple strips right there, and good old poplar for the sides, and a mahogany neck. And okay, so it's a little harder to play a 12-string sometime, but we'll give it a whirl and let you see what it sounds like. Whoa, that ain't so good though, is it? Well, And this girl has some sustain. This one is a little different. It has the same inside mechanism of the steel tube going all the way to the back, but a little bit different on this one. There's a hole in the back here, and there's a screw. And that screw goes into a block that the steel bar rides on, which makes it adjustable. I can crank in on that screw, and when I do, it's going to try to push this bar up, which when it gets to here is going to want to start pushing the neck down, which is a good thing if you need to straighten the neck out. If for some circumstance you need to go the other way, you can always relieve the tension on it. I haven't had to adjust it. The neck has stayed pretty doggone straight on this thing as best I can see. The body stays staying flat. I tend to overbuild. One of these days I will do some work and show some photographs, do some videoing, and get some of my pictures of what the insides of these instruments look like, so you get an idea how I go about building it, but at least you see what the finished product is at the moment. And I think that is almost about it. Outside of most of these have been done, the finish on them is shellac, and I've had pretty good luck with the shellac. And I've used other finishes. I've used enamels and stuff, clear enamels and lacquers. The biggest thing with the shellac is that it dries quite quickly, so you can move right along, and if you do a little bit what they call French polishing, you can get a pretty nice gloss on the shellac. Probably not as durable as some finishes, but it's not too bad to refinish when you have to do it. So I guess that's just about it for the moment. I will be making some more videos because I have some mandolins and mandolas that I built, and another couple of odd instruments out here and there along the way. I have a mountain dulcimer that I built, which was one of the first instruments that I've ever built. So somewhere down the road, that will be done. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out on this snowy Maine afternoon. Thankfully, my snowblower started and I was able to clear the yard. But I'm anxious for spring. Take care, everyone.